Have you ever heard the story of a giant boat that saved all the animals in the world? Well, get comfy, because tonight we're going on an amazing adventure with a man named Noah. A long, long time ago, the world was a very different place. People had forgotten how to be kind and loving. They were doing things that made God's heart sad. The whole world was filled with wickedness, and wasn't the beautiful, caring place God had intended it to be. But in the middle of all this trouble, there was one man who was different. His name was Noah. Noah was a good man. He loved God, and he walked with God every day, talking to him and listening to him, just like you would with your best friend. One day, God spoke to Noah with a very important, very big job. God said, "Noah, I'm going to send a great flood to wash the world clean. But I want to save you, your family, and all the animals." God then gave Noah a special blueprint. He told him, "I want you to build an ark." Now, this wasn't just any boat. It was going to be a huge, gigantic ship, bigger than anything anyone had ever seen. God told Noah exactly how to build it, how long, how wide, and how tall. He told him to use special gopher wood and to cover it inside and out with pitch, which is like a sticky tar, to make sure it was completely waterproof. It was a massive task, but Noah trusted God completely. So, Noah and his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, got to work. Can you imagine the sound? Thump, thump, thump went the hammers. Swish, swish, swish went the saws. Day after day, they worked, cutting the long planks of wood and fitting them together, just as God had instructed. People from nearby towns probably came to watch. They might have pointed and laughed, thinking, "Why is Noah building a giant boat in the middle of dry land? There's not a drop of water in sight." But Noah didn't listen to them. He kept his focus, because he knew he was following God's plan. He was building this enormous, 3-story floating home, complete with rooms and a big window at the top. Then, the most incredible thing started to happen. As the ark was nearing completion, animals began to arrive. But they didn't just wander in. They came in a long, orderly parade, 2 by 2. The lions walked calmly next to the lambs. The tall, graceful giraffes ducked their heads to get through the door. The enormous elephants stomped gently up the ramp. There were bears and zebras, kangaroos and koalas, monkeys chattering, and birds of every color flying in. Even the tiniest creatures, like little mice and busy ants, scurried aboard. It was a peaceful parade, with no growling or fighting. All the animals, big and small, came 2 by 2, a male and a female of every kind, and found their place inside the ark, just as God had commanded. Finally, Noah, his wife, his sons, and their wives all went inside. And then, God himself shut the big, heavy door. 7 days later, the first drop of rain fell. Then, another, and another. Soon, it wasn't just drops, it was a downpour. Rain poured from the sky like never before. It rained and rained for 40 days and 40 nights without stopping. Water started to bubble up from the ground. Little puddles turned into big pools, pools turned into lakes, and lakes turned into a giant, swirling ocean. The water rose higher and higher, covering the fields, the houses, and even the tallest trees. Soon, the entire world was covered in water. Everything was gone. But inside the ark, Noah and his family and all the animals were safe and sound. The huge boat, which had seemed so silly on dry land, now began to lift. It floated on top of the rising water, bobbing gently on the waves. Imagine being inside. You might hear the pitter-patter of the endless rain on the roof, and the gentle sloshing of the waves against the sides. Noah and his family were busy taking care of all the animals, feeding them, and making sure they were all okay. For months, they floated on that great big ocean, a tiny speck of life in a world of water, completely protected by God. After a long time, the rain finally stopped. The sun began to peek through the clouds again. Slowly, very slowly, the water started to go down. The Bible says the water receded for 150 days. Eventually, with a gentle bump, the ark came to rest on the top of a mountain called Ararat. But even though they had stopped moving, they couldn't see any land yet. It was still a world of water. So Noah waited. After another 40 days, Noah decided to see if there was any dry land nearby. He opened the window and sent out a raven. The raven flew back and forth, but it couldn't find a place to land. A week later, Noah sent out a different bird, a gentle dove. The dove flew out, searched and searched, but she too came back to the ark, for there was nowhere to rest her feet. Noah waited another 7 days. He sent the dove out a second time. This time, as evening came, the dove flew back to the ark, and in her beak, she was carrying a freshly picked olive leaf. An olive leaf. This was the sign they had been waiting for. It meant that the water had gone down enough for trees to start growing again. There was dry land, somewhere close. What a moment of joy and hope that must have been. Noah waited just 1 more week and sent the dove out a final time. This time, she didn't come back at all, which meant she had found a new home. The world was ready. Then, God spoke to Noah again. "It's time," he said. "Come out of the ark, you and your family, and bring every living creature with you." The moment had come. The huge door of the ark, which had been sealed for over a year, swung open. The bright sunlight streamed in. One by one, Noah and his family stepped out onto the fresh, clean earth. Then came the animals. Can you picture it? They came pouring out, running, hopping, and flying into the brand new world. The lions roared, the birds sang, and all the creatures celebrated their freedom, spreading out to fill the earth again. Noah was so thankful. The first thing he did was build an altar to thank God for keeping them safe through the flood. And as he did, God put a magnificent sign in the sky for everyone to see. A beautiful, colorful rainbow stretched across the clouds. God made a promise to Noah, to his family, and to every living creature. He promised that he would never, ever again flood the entire earth. The rainbow was his special sign of that promise. So now, whenever you see a rainbow after the rain, you can remember God's promise to Noah and to all of us. This story teaches us something wonderful. God always keeps his promises. Life can sometimes feel like a big storm. Things can get scary or confusing, and we might feel like we're being tossed around by waves. But just like Noah, if we trust in God, he will guide us through the storm. He will protect us and bring us safely to a new beginning, a fresh start, full of hope and promise, just like that beautiful rainbow in the sky. Remember to hold on to hope, and know that you are loved and cared for. Thank you so much for listening to this incredible story with me. I hope it filled your heart with wonder. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing stories. Have a peaceful night and sweet dreams.